Hi there, this is Dana Arcuri, author, speaker, and wellness coach, and I wanted to do a very quick video, and I wanted to just say that, there's a lot of things that can happen in our lifetime. There's a lot of challenges that we could go through, trials and tribulations, and through it all, that we have a choice on how we respond to the negative things that are going on around us. And yesterday I was at a women's conference, and at the women's conference, I really felt like God was telling me that I needed to think back on earlier days when I did overcome some serious trials and adversity. And God was bringing to mind actually two of my books. So he brought to mind this one particular chapter in my memoir, and he also brought to my mind a chapter in my newest release from Reinventing You, Simple Steps to Transform Your Body, Mind, and Spirit. And so it's funny how God can use my own book to minister to me. I find that a little, sometimes even humorous, like, wow, God has a sense of humor. But the cool thing is that I really sensed that because of all the things that are going on right now, and for those who don't know and maybe haven't seen my Facebook page or seen the things that are going on. And there are definitely things I don't share on social media, but I'm just going to be transparent and share right now. So the one thing that's going on that's just absolutely devastating and heartbreaking and scary at the same time is that my 79-year-old mother was diagnosed last week with a very serious, aggressive form of cancer. And so it's a brain tumor. It's in the front lobe, like right around here, on her head. And it's the size of an egg. And so it's very aggressive. And my mother is scheduled to have surgery on Tuesday this coming week, March 8th. Keep her in prayer. I really, really, really rely on your prayers to lift up my mother, Dolly. And so this is scary for my mother. This is scary for me and my sisters and my family. And, unexpected things happen. Real life happens. It's not always smooth sailing, and God calls us to really live our faith, to really demonstrate our faith by living real life. Because, hey, faith is easy when life is smooth sailing. Faith is easy when things are going well. But when we're walking in darkness, that's really when God calls us to step out, even in the dark, even in the really crummy times, to stand up and be faithful. And so that one particular situation with my mother, because it is fearful, because it's so uncertain, because we don't know what the future holds for her, and all we could do is just wrap her in our love and prayers and just pray out to God and cry out for his mercy and his provision, because he is the physician and the healer. And we look to him. And so then that's the one thing that's going on that's heavy duty. The second thing is my husband didn't even want to tell me, because he knows what I'm going through and he knows how devastated I am about my mother and concerned for her and her well-being and health. He didn't want to tell me, but he had to break the news that he's been laid off work. And so, of course, instantly, the enemy wants to slip his little ugly head in there and make me scared and make me uncertain of my future and our family. But nevertheless, I felt like yesterday at this conference that God was, again, reminding me of one of my books and the Reinventing You, and how I had a chapter where I actually shared and wrote about 2 years ago when my husband had lost his job and he was laid off for 2 solid years. And it was the most devastating, financially hectic, chaotic time in our lives when we depended on God in ways that we had never depended on God. And sometimes I think God can use these horrible things in our lives, such as a financial crisis, to really minister to us and work through us and make us, choose. We have to choose. Do you choose to crumble and fall? Do you choose to let the enemy take hold of you? Do you choose to believe the lies that you are going to be homeless and that you're not going to have any money and that you're going to be destitute? Or are you going to believe that he's going to provide somehow, some way? He's going to bring fruit into the harvest that you have already planted. And so today I declare that God is doing a good thing and he's going before me. He's going ahead of me and my mother and my husband and the job he's looking for and the vibrant health that my mother is praying for. He's going before you and whatever concerns you today, that he is paving the way. He calls us to have a purpose and a hope for our future, and that he has a plan for us, and that we need to be aware of those negative thoughts that are beating us down, that are trying to destroy our faith. We need to stand back and say, no, Satan, I take back that God promised that we are going to have a future. God promised that we're going to have immeasurably more than what we even ask or even can perceive, that he has something for us, and it's goodness. It is not harm. It is goodness. And God is faithful, and so we need to be faithful. And I wanted to read this one particular scripture. I need to put on my glasses so I can see. And so here it is. This is the scripture that's really speaking to me. And it's in, Jeremiah 17:8. Okay, Jeremiah 17:8, and it says, he will be like a tree planted by the water. He will be like a tree planted by the water that sends out its roots by the stream. It does not fear when heat comes. The leaves are always green. It has no worries in a year of drought, and it never fails to bear fruit. And so I believe that's God saying, you know what? You have planted a harvest. You have planted a harvest. And you have been faithful, my dear one. And that God is going to stand by us when we're in that drought. We're not going to go thirsty. We're not going to go hungry. We're not going to be homeless. We're not going to be helpless. We're not going to be unhealthy, because God promised us. He promised he will be there, and we are faithful. And therefore God will always stand firm in his faith. He is unstoppable. He is unshakable. He is unchangeable. And the God we had centuries ago is the same God we're going to have today and tomorrow. And so today, whatever you are enduring, whatever you are facing, whether it is good or whether it is bad, whether it is intimidating and scary and uncertain and frustrating, or whether you're going through great times, know that God will lift you up. He sees the wonderful seeds that you have already planted in your faith, and he will sprout up and blossom up a new garden. And the garden is full of life. He's breathing fresh life and hope and victory into us today. And so hold on to his promises. Find a scripture that lifts you up, that speaks to you and maybe your own situation, but trust that he is with us. He is sovereign. He is faithful. We need only to be still, because he says he will fight our battles for us. And so today, I really pray that gives you hope. I really pray that strengthens you and gives you courage. You could connect with me on DanaArcuri.com. And I just pray you have a wonderful day. Thank you. Bye-bye.